Pope Francis says Jesus is ready to love us if we let him.
A sentire, a capire la tenerezza.
At his daily Mass at the Vatican, the Holy Father says some people are too proud or too sure of themselves. Instead, we should know Jesus wants to accompany us in good times and bad, and he'll give us help in every situation. A new book argues the Catholic Church is in its current state is not the one Christ intended, and the author says he conducted extensive interviews to find the solution. In The Priests We Need to Save the Church, author Kevin Wells quotes 92-year-old Monsignor John Esseff, who says, "We don't have a priest shortage right now, nor do we have a shortage of vocations. What we have is a shortage of priests who pray." And the author, Kevin Wells, joins us now in studio. He's the president of the Monsignor Thomas Wells Society for Vocations. Kevin, welcome into the newscast.
Wyatt, good to be here.
What compelled you yourself as a married father of three, to write a book about the priesthood?
Well, believe it or not, Wyatt, it's been on my mind for a good 20, 25 years. You know, it sounds kind of arrogant for someone to tell a priest how to be a priest. That wasn't it. The inspiration was to tell a priest of what I thirsted for, to be candid. And I think this is the time for candor in Catholicism in America. I simply did not see, year after year, from my parish priest, the pastor, sort of the royalty of our Catholic Church. Rather than seeing sort of the bridge to get me to heaven, I sort of saw a dam. Rather than seeing sort of life, I saw a contraception of truth year after year after year. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I want to tell a priest for what I plead for.
And those qualities that you like in the priest. Tell us about your uncle, Monsignor Thomas Wells, and who is he and what kind of influence did he have on your faith? Monsignor
Thomas Wells was a power in the Archdiocese of Washington for 29 years. He was murdered in his rectory in the year 2000, horrifically. He was a man who understood his role was to get people to heaven, and he did it by raising the Eucharist. He led many men into the priesthood, and he had not hundreds, thousands of friends, because the cardinal at that time, Cardinal James Hickey, continually transferred him to struggling parishes, and because he knew in Tommy he had a man who was going to try and save souls.
It's very important. So when you think about either Monsignor or you think about other good priests, what are those good qualities that you find in every good priest?
Well, what I find, there are 8, but I'll just mention 4 because of time. A priest simply needs to adore the Eucharistic face of Jesus. I would imagine that a priest would want to commit himself to a daily holy hour every day of his life. He's got to have a devotion to the Holy Mother. I believe if a priest does not love Mary in a certain way, that his priesthood is left unprotected. I think that a priest needs to be devoted to serious, solemn prayer. He's got to take the breviary with intentionality 5 times a day. It's a continuation of the Mass. And lastly, I'll just say that a priest really should identify a spirit of asceticism in his life. Sleep on the floor for a month, take a cold shower for a week, skip meals for a day, because then you identify with the crucified Christ suffocating on a cross. He suffered, I'm going to suffer.
Seems like very interesting qualities. What has been the reaction to those who have read your book, especially priests?
God is good. Hundreds of priests have read the book. Many have sort of gotten in touch with me. Some have cried when they've read it. Others have told me that they've re-engineered their priesthood because they've identified some things by John Vianney, by some of these great priest saints that I've written about, some of these modern day solid priests, beautiful priests, faith-filled priests. And they said, you know what? Gosh, I'm not taking on the burden of my identity to be a sacrificial lamb for my flock. So you know what? I'm gonna step things up in my priesthood now.
A lot of important things to think about, and it's a good idea in terms of citing all of those saints as good examples. Kevin Wells, president of the Monsignor Thomas Wells Society for Vocations, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you very much, Wyatt.